for all for coming to the Ordinary Council meeting 17th of June 2018. I'll open the meeting at 5:30, and in doing so acknowledge the traditional custodians, the Gariada people, and recognise the contribution of Gariada elders past, present and future in working together for the future of Port Hedland. Thank you. CEO, can we dial in Councillor Whitwell? Okay, as Councillor Whitwell's not available, we'll record his non-attendance. Item 3, recording of attendance is as listed. Councillor Whitwell is absent. Item 3.2, attendance by telephone or instantaneous communication. Is there any applications, councillors? No, councillor, no applications. Thank you. There is nil. 3.3, apologies. There is nil. 3.4, approved leave of absence. There is nil. Approved leave of absence. 3.5, disclosures of interest. Councillors, do I have any disclosures of interest tonight on tonight's agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I've got a couple as concerning mineral resources situation. 14.1 and 14.2. I have a financial interest due to having shares in mineral resources above the threshold.
Thank you, Councillor
Thank
Dakash. Have any other further declarations?
Yes, Mayor, I do. For 11.2.1, the Needle Safety Initiatives, I have an impartiality because I'm Vice Chairperson of the Helen Wellham Centre and also a public sector worker, which I am exempt as anyway.
Thank you, Councillor Heber. Item 4, applications for leave of absence. Do I have any applications, councillors? Yes, Councillor Arif. Thank you. Do I have anything further? Yes.
5th of the 6th to the 16th of the 6th.
Seven. Yes, Councillor Dakash.
The 7th of August till the 20th of August, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Heber.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm away from the 21st September to the 10th of October.
Do I have any further declarations, applications? No. Thank you, councillors. Item 5, response to previous questions. 5.1, response. Oh, I do too, yes. Sorry, councillors, I need to have a mover in the applications for leave of absence. Move Councillor Pitt. Do I have a seconder, Councillor McDonough? Do I have any against? Motion is passed 8-0. Item 5, response to previous questions. 5.1, response to questions taken on notice from the public at Ordinary Council meeting held on Wednesday, the 23rd of May 2018. 5.11 from Mr. Dean Davis. 5.12 from Mr. David McGowan. 5.2, response to questions taken on notice from elected members at ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday the 23rd of May 2018. From Councillor George DeCash and from Councillor Talona Pitt.
Point of clarification, Mr Mayor. Can I just ask, I've got a couple of questions on your response. Can I ask them now, or do you ask them as public questions?
You can ask them in your at councillor question time.
Thank you.
But I might add to the response here and see, could I get this put in the minutes of the meeting? Councillor DeCash asked what was discussed during the recent meeting with the Minister, Alana Mateenan. Now I've advised the subject of the meeting with the Minister for Regional Development was confidential, and the Minister specifically stated that she didn't want that conversation to be broadcast. On the 1st of May 2018, the Council, including Councillor DeCash, was issued with all the information relating to the meeting with Minister Mateenan. Councillor DeCash asked what was discussed during the recent meeting with BHP Forum and on corporate responsibility, and was there any money discussed by BHP. I stated that my understanding was that meeting was open to all councillors to attend. The BHP dinner with the civic social leaders email was sent on the 4th of April 2018 at 10:23 to all councillors and the Mayor, advising of the meeting. There was an RSVP that was required to be done for that meeting, and also Councillor DeCash also attended that dinner as well. Councillor DeCash asked what was discussed during the meeting with the Premier, Mark McGowan. Now, I've taken that question on notice, but I spoke about this meeting in detail on the ABC, Spirit Radio. The Premier also spoke of our conversation at the Port Hedland Chamber of Commerce and Industry get-together on the same day, which Councillor Cash attended at the Esplanade Crow's Nest. On page 13 of the minutes of the 23rd of April 2018, in item 8, announcements by presiding member without discussion, I spoke about the Premier's visit in detail. Councillor DeCash was at that meeting, and he's also voted to confirm the minutes of that meeting on item 10.1 in the May OCM. The attendance record shows a 9-0 attendance, so all councillors were present. Councillor DeCash stated he's expressed disappointment in the CEO's non-attendance of the Pilbara Kimberley Forum with the Deputy Mayor, Newbury, and Councillor Pitt. Councillor DeCash was informed by email, as the rest of the council was, on the 27th of April. The meeting schedule of the CEO and the Mayor on the days the Pilbara Kimberley Forum were on. And that was followed by a detailed email by myself on Wednesday the 2nd of May 2018 at 2:43. The email outlined the meeting content of the PRC OCM and discussions with the Department of Transport, Department of Regional Development, and the Department of Local Government. CEO, can I have all of that put in the minutes? Thank you. Item 6, public time. This meeting has been recorded on audio tape and live streamed
online as an additional record of the meeting and to assist with minute-taking purposes which may be released upon request to third parties. If you do not give your permission for recording your participation, please indicate this at the meeting. The public is reminded that in accordance with section 616 of the Town of Port Hedland local law and standing orders, nobody shall use any visual or vocal electronic device or instrument to record the proceedings of the meetings unless that person has been given permission by the chairperson to do so. Members of the public are also reminded that in accordance with section 6174 of the Town of Port Hedland local law and standing orders, mobile telephones must be switched off and not in use during the meeting. In accordance with section 673 of the Town of Port Hedland local law and standing orders, members of the public are required to complete a question form and place the completed form in the tray provided. Members of the public, I'm happy for you to use any electronic devices to follow the agenda if you wish. Open public question time at 5:41 and call for public questions from the gallery. Do I have any public questions?
Julie Walker for the record. I've got a question for
Julie, can I get your address too, please?
2 Trumpet Way, South Hedland.
Thank you.
I've got a question for the CEO, and my question is whether he is a director of the Juliaru Aboriginal Corporation.
CEO?
I'm on the board.
CEO?
Sorry, I'm on the board.
You're a director, okay. I've got a question, and I just wanted to get that clarified first. I'm not talking about another person. And my question is for the CEO, and I've been asked to raise this on behalf of concerned community members. And in doing so, I'll make reference to the email correspondence from Trina Stoddart, who's the CEO of Juliaru Aboriginal Corporation and the coordinator of the Hedland Strong Leadership Group. I would like to know the terms of the contract of the CEO, in which I consider there is a perceived conflict of interest, and whether he has made a declaration that he's also a director of the Juliaru Aboriginal Corporation. The conflict of interest rule is most profound in regard to this corporation, as the corporation only permits 5 directors, of which the CEO, David Pentance, and Trina Stoddart are directors and contact persons of. On this note, I would like to make reference to the ORAC application for registration and the Juliaru rule book. Now, the other 3 directors of the corporation are all Indigenous directors of the Strong Leadership Group, to which Trina Stoddart is the coordinator of. Given there has been no financial record of where the actual payments of the $50,000 from the town of Portland for the Strong Leaders went to, I would like the council to confirm where the payment was made and if the payment actually went to the Juliaru Aboriginal Corporation, given there is a requirement that government funds can only be paid into a corporated body. And if there was a standard requirement from the CEO of the town of Port Hedland to declare a material interest, given he is a director of the corporation. Furthermore, given he and 2 Indigenous directors of Juliaru Aboriginal Corporation are also paid as private consultants by the town of Port Hedland, whether there is also a requirement by the CEO to once again declare a conflict of interest, I state this as under the Juliaru rule book, there is a clear statement that the corporation would operate and maintain exclusive gift fund known as the Juliaru Aboriginal Corporation Gift Fund. Hence, in effect, it can be perceived that the CEO could effectively challenge funds into a corporation to which he obviously has an exclusive director membership to. No other community member can join the corporation, as there is a restricted and exclusive membership. Basically, no one can ask questions or raise issues in regard to how it's managed and how funds are managed thereof. Hence, if public and the government funds for the Strong Leaders Group is being challenged into this corporation, then I would ask the town of Port Hedland to inquire and request the CEO to declare a material interest for all dealings with Juliaru Aboriginal Corporation and the Strong Leadership Group, and there be a transparent process as to how the strongly descript was given the 50,000 Town of Port Ellen grant and what was it spent on.
Thank you. Can we? We'll need to break that down into which questions you want answered, because there's a lot of questions in there. But
there is only one question. Sorry, if I may ask, there is only one question, and the question is about the transparency in respect to the conflict of interest rule.
Okay, so we'll take that on notice and get you an answer back. Do I have any further public questions?
Good evening, councillors. My name is Dean Davis of 13 Atrema Loop, South Hedland. My question for this evening is agenda item in lobbying the federal government for the inclusion of Social Service Amendment Bill for 2018. What is its status?
CEO?
Take that on notice. Oops, sorry, I'd have to take that on notice and come back to you.
Thank you. My next question is, can I have my two questions from last meeting turned into agenda items, specifically the local waste law Schedule 1 and the data collection at landfill for needle exchange programs?
CEO?
We can certainly look into that. From my perspective as CEO, I feel we've answered your questions sufficiently, and I'm reluctant to commit staff resources to another report where we have answered your question, in my opinion, sufficiently.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Do I have any further public questions?
Good evening, Scott Lowe, 8 Anderson Street. Last night at 5:22 p.m, I received correspondence that a special council meeting would be held tomorrow night to finalise the town's rating strategy. As at 4:30 p.m. today, the agenda items for that meeting are still not posted to the Town of Port Hedland website. Is there any reason why the correspondence to submission providers on the rating strategy was not sent well in advance? And is there any reason why the agenda item isn't up so that we can see what Town of Port Hedland staff have recommended to councillors in the deliberations on that agenda item? Because the optics of this look pretty bad. It looks like Town of Port Hedland are attempting to get an agenda item through council with as little transparency as possible, in much the way the item for the extension of Port Haven was done. And that comes as quite a surprise to me, because the consultation process prior to this on the rating strategy had been well executed.
CEO, do we have any problems with the agenda item not being released?
Can I just refer to the director?
It's currently just going through its final edits, and we're hoping to have it out first thing tomorrow morning. It hasn't been a deliberate attempt at hiding what the strategy is. We had a detailed workshop with elected members on Saturday, and based on that feedback, we've been basically adopting the discussion that was at that session. So it hasn't been a deliberate attempt, it's just a timing scenario and trying to get it just finalised. So our intent is to have it out first thing tomorrow morning.
And can I just get the answer on the correspondence to people who provided submissions not going out until 5:22 last night? It would have been useful to have received that correspondence in a more timely fashion so that people could have attended tomorrow night's meeting.
The meeting was posted 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, okay.
on the website, but
yeah.
I do acknowledge that yes, it's probably not the best that it has gone out to the people who actually submitted. I didn't realise that had only gone out yesterday.
Yeah, okay. I've got further comment about that, but I'll leave it to statement time.
Yep.
Do I have any other public questions? No? Okay, thank you. I'll close public question time at 5:50 and open public statement time at 5:50 and call for public statements. Do I have any public statements?
I may as well follow on because it follows on directly from that. I did speak to Town of Port Hedland staff today about the failure to raise the profile of this meeting in the community, and they did direct me to the Facebook post and the, well, frankly, minuscule ad in the Northwest Telegraph of a couple of weeks ago. I'd point out that I don't feel it's acceptable to outsource the communications of such an important matter to Facebook. The agenda item that you say has been up on the website for some time indicates that there is a special meeting being held tomorrow night. It is completely silent on what that special meeting is, so that's not particularly useful. And yeah, my comment stands that submission holders not receiving the correspondence, the letter that the meeting was going to be held until 5 o'clock last night, again, wasn't particularly useful. I, for one, can't attend tomorrow night's meeting that I otherwise would have intended to attend to. So I will make my comments that I would make at that meeting in statement time tonight regarding the rates. I have tried, having submitted a submission in the process, to get feedback on it from the Town of Port Hedland staff. And it feels that having made a submission, it's to some extent gone into a black box. So I have left on several occasions messages trying to get Town of Port Hedland staff to return my call regarding some recommendations I made in my submission, and have not yet to date had a response. One issue in particular I'd like to raise is with regards to the industrial property, the industrial category, being that the ratings submission intent this year is to normalise its rate in the dollar with that of the residential. That has led to on average, 70% increase in the rates for industrial properties. So that's 70% on average. In some instances, it is well over 100%. We were contacted recently by someone who's just had his rates noticed and realises he's paying double this year what he did last year. So the recommendation I made in my submission, which I'm not sure if councillors have seen or not, because I haven't seen the report that has gone to you, is that this is too big an increase to apply in 1 year. This should be staged over a number of years so that people can face this increase in the industrial rate appropriately. The second point on industrial rates is that the minimum rate in that category has been set at $2,000. Now, just so you're clear, this is just an arbitrarily picked number that we determine what's going to be the minimum rates. In the residential category, we've picked $1,350, and that's the minimum rate for that category. In the industrial category, the $2,000 minimum will unfairly impact small industrial and commercial properties. And I've got an instance where I've seen the property owner will pay 30% higher rates than they should otherwise pay under the rates in the dollar, because that minimum rate is being imposed as $2,000 for no that particular reason. My recommendation in that process was that that is set at the same as the residential at $1,350. And I would ask councillors, if they haven't already, then to ask Town of Port Hedland staff if there is a particular reason why the industrial rate, minimum rate, needs to be set at $2,000. The final comment I'll make on the rates is that it is only now becoming apparent to some people what the impact of the rating strategy is on them. So whilst I congratulate the Town of Port Hedland on the process it endeavoured to go through in formulating this plan, I will highlight again the point I made in my submission, that the interaction you had with the community was probably more limited than it would otherwise be, because at the time of interaction, people did not know the quantum of the impact that was going to have on their particular rates. So we are fielding more inquiry now than we were back when we were doing the process, because people are actually finally getting it. And I think that's important to factor into any future community consultation, that people don't care about it until they know that their rates are going to double. And that's why we didn't get anyone at the meetings. And that's why when you went out to the community and said, would you accept a reduction in services for a reduction in rates, you probably got a 50% answer of yes and no. Because at that point in time, they didn't have their rates notices in their hand, saying they're putting their hands in their pockets for twice as much as they did last year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Do I have any other public statements?
Good evening, councillors. My name is Dean Davis of 13 and Tremor Loop, South Hedland. It's fantastic that councillors are voting on lobbying with the town of Port Hedland community, the state government, for the instatement of a needle exchange program with a goal of return rate of 80%, with boots on the ground by the end of the calendar year 2018. For in the town of Port Hedland, not specifically for the geographical context of the Pilbara. This push is to reduce harm and exposure to children and the violence seen in our schools from people who inject drugs in the home and within the community. With this outrage shown at the school board meeting in 2017 by parents, caregivers and community members about this epidemic. Police constantly publicly list ICE issues and request help from local government. It makes newspaper reports of children as low as 12 years old injecting drugs. It cannot be said that this is the first time the local government has been made aware of people that inject drugs and the effects on children in the community. This is not about stigmatised people. It is about the unwillingness or the refusal to respect the community and its safety, and the failure of the needle syringe program in not taking steps to correcting the direct harm seen and reported by the community. I am certain that the council, when voting, will rise above the bias shown. Some of these examples, the lack of serialised data, the suppression, resistance from organisations, this does not help in reducing harm and exposure to children from people who inject drugs and in biohazardous waste. It enables biohazardous dangers in our children's homes, public areas, and allowing plausible deniability. The use of words high volume areas over instead of children's parks, children's safe zones, and set these locations up to enable biohazardous dangers in itself is an intolerable act. Demanding our children share safe zones with high risk injectable drug activity and biohazardous waste is preposterous and irrational. Mr. Alexander Pinto, Acting Director of Pilbara Population Health, provided each councillor links to current report documents scoping relevant stakeholders in the Pilbara, including evidence-based research, accepting, understanding of needle exchange program in emails. Yet this agenda document fails to reference these scoped works. I note statistic anomalies with data provided on page 53 of the agenda, 1st of January 2018 to 30th of May 2018 of this document. This differs greatly with the data provided by local government, where numbers range 200 to 300 needles per month in public locations. Page 55 states needle syringe program and needle syringe exchange program services, often the first point of contact for people who inject drugs, with health services and provide the opportunity for intervention. Meetings with WA Health Women's Well Centre and local government state that the needle syringe program only activity over giving needles is a duty of care to inform of correct disposal locations. This was also confirmed by councillor, a director of the Women's Well Centre, in ordinary council meeting when intervention and monitoring was discussed. Page 52 as well as page 55 tries to put forward intervention takes place at these points of contact. This disinformation is heinous in its intent. Meeting with local pharmacies about their mention in the agenda and being a stakeholder in the needle syringe program, commented saying they've never been contacted or asked to contribute data or input as a stakeholder of the needle syringe program from WA Health, Pilbara Population Health, or any non-profit organisations. Continuing to say that local government had not contacted them in reference to needle syringe exchange program agenda item and their inclusion. These items quantify concerns of fictional information being submitted as fact into council board and the community. Compounding the problem is the stakeholders are being referenced and used as cover, camouflage. 2009, when the state government specifically named Port Hedland recommending a needle exchange program, the failure of this program implementation, people who inject drugs and the biohazardous waste looks to have gone completely unmonitored, coupled with questionable information, ambiguous intent of the information provided is hiding the urgency for action. This push for Section 64 is going to see the increase of people in inject drugs rise. Knowing this, we have an onus to prevent the continued escalation of harm to children, the community and the environment. This magnifies the urgency for action in having a needle syringe exchange program and the early adoption of intervention that comes with a needle syringe exchange program. The direct harm the needle syringe program and its participants place on the children is shameful. In this agenda report, there is no mention of children, reduction of harm to children, no mention of the multiple drug dens operating around our schools, or the past or current education of people that inject drugs not working. In closing, I trust that councillors will take the guardianship of the community and our children's care and safety as a priority, overcoming these attempts to misdirect and baffle. Push with loyalty and safety of the people and the environment by helping for a needle exchange program implementation by the end of the calendar year 2018. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Do I have any further public statements? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Worthington of 48 Kumbana Avenue, South Hedland. I'm here this evening on behalf of myself, but also as the CEO of the Hedland Wellman Centre. And my public statement is in regards to agenda item 11.2, needle safety initiatives. As many others here, I am a community member with an emotional investment in this town and its people. I am a leader as the CEO of an organisation, a community organisation. I am here raising a family, and I now consider myself a long-term resident. This is an issue and a topic that has received a lot of attention recently in local forums. Thank you. I'm a short person. Thank you. This has received a lot of attention recently in local forums. Unfortunately, much of it is in a negative light. And as a current NSP provider who has successfully run this program for many years, we feel that as a centre we have a heavy weight in this topic. Before we raise all this attention to an issue, if we could please really just look at it and understand it. As it stands, there are current NSP services in town operating successfully. This is evident in the reduction of blood-borne viruses, which is the sole purpose of NSP programs. Through our service at the centre, we consider the program to be extremely successful. This is evident through the many referrals, support and assistance that we provide to our clients. This is also supported by the outcomes achieved over the duration that we've run the program. Importantly, this is and has been an effective harm minimisation program with no one ever being infected with a disease from a discarded needle, not just in Port Hedland, but in the country. Understandably, this is a topic that fuels emotion. We know that disposal of needles is an issue and it is concerning, but it is an issue that we are working hard as a community to address, and we are achieving great outcomes. Remember the fact that no one person has ever been infected with a discarded needle. Unfortunately, disposal of needles and drug use is an issue and it will not go away, but let's not take away from what is being achieved. I do need to make a correction made of our services in the agenda on page 52. The centre do currently have a full-time and part-time counsellor available for treatment on request. We also work closely with other drug, alcohol services and have successfully referred NSP clients to these services. We also have a full-time health nurse available for STI checks. We're also part of the Alcohol and Drug Management Plan and work closely together with the town of Port Hedland on issues such as disposal and addressing that problem. We welcome and support the community consultation process that WA Country Health Service is about to embark. We also believe that it's imperative that comprehensive research be carried out to assess all practices that relate to needle syringe safety, and specifically within the Hedland area. So we sit firmly in a position of supporting practices that are identified to be the best to suit the community as a whole. So let's first understand the difference and the purpose of these programs, and let's not get them confused, and let's see what they are actually achieving currently. So if after community consultation and significant research is carried out, if it is found that a needle exchange program is what is best suited for the Hedland community, and it will be a vast improvement on current services, then by all means lobby for such a program. But for now, let's just look at the current issue, the current programs, and let's weigh it up. I'd just like to end mentioning a few. Firstly, Dean Davis, your passion is really clear in this space, and I thank you for raising this topic into a public forum. However, it does come with responsibility when we're addressing such issues, so I would ask that that's done in the right forums. Secondly, thank you to the town of Port Hedland for your continued work with current services and recognising the services that work within this space. And then lastly, if we could just look to the organisations, the community groups, services and forums who are already working in this space and who work on the ground day in and day out, who address these and many other community issues at the core. We are achieving great outcomes in this space. If we could build each other up and commend the work that's being done, not tear it down, maybe we'd be able to achieve more together. So I'd just plead council to consider all options, all angles, take a long-term sustainable approach that will see long-term impact and change.
Thank you. Do I have any further public statements? Mr. Peters, are you going to do a public statement on the $1 a tonne?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Firstly, I thank you all for giving me this opportunity to present what I feel is a very important issue for the people of town of Port Hedland. Why are we protesting on the 1st of July? Recently, a mining giant CEO announced a profit of 5.5 billion Australian dollar, and what our town has received from that, I would say, pittance. This is what the CEO announced. Let me ask you one question. What influences the cost of production? I know, or any other mineral. The short answer is two things: the fixed cost and the variable cost. Some examples of mining companies of fixed cost are plant, equipment, and machinery. Some examples of variable cost are diesel, electricity, and wages. In 1980, the cost of iron ore, what mining companies exported, was $12.15, and the minimum wage was $129.50 per week. And till 1989, it was almost $12.03, and in 2005, it jumped to $28.11, and the minimum wage was $484.40. And that time we were exporting 100 million tons. In 2008, it jumped to $60.80. And minimum wage was $543.78. And we exported 112 million tons. In February 2011, the cost of iron ore was $187.18 per ton, and we were the largest port by cargo, 200 million tons we exported. Just imagine the cost and the profit that company made must have been around $30 billion. And what this town got? A stadium, a skate park, and a swimming pool, and few more things. I don't think that's enough. It is ridiculous. Today, the cost of iron ore is $66, maybe 66 cents. And the minimum wage is $719.20. Over the years, these variables have been relatively stable, and when they have increased, they are negligible compared to the increase in price of iron ore. In 1960, a deal was struck for the development levy of 25 cents for every ton of iron ore. In 1980, the price of iron ore was $12.15, and the levy that applied made sense. In 2011, the price of iron ore was $187.18. However, the development levy stayed as the same. This makes no sense. Today, the iron ore price is $64.91. There should definitely be an increase in the development levy. We propose an increase in the development levy by only $1 per ton. Pilbara Aboriginal Corporation of Traditional Owners and people from the town of Port Hedland had a meeting and decided to seek your support of this organization, firstly to resolve the dust issue that is affecting the health of people of town of Port Hedland, and further reducing house prices in the West End due to the planning constraint over the West End. We want to enforce the NERM standard of pollution, that is 50 gram per cube, as clean air is our right. Introduce permanent development fund of $1 per ton on all export, excluding livestock, agriculture, and fisheries product. This increase is to commence from 1st of January 2019 and be paid into Port Hedland Redevelopment Authority. This will divide, the Port Hedland Redevelopment Authority will divide this fund then between Pilbara Wealth Fund, Traditional Owners Fund, Pilbara Economic Fund, Port Hedland Redevelopment Fund.
Mr. Peters, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I seek your support and look forward to positive response and your continued support. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. Do I have any further public statements? Thank you, everybody that participated. I'll close public statement time at 6:14. 6.3 petitions, deputations, presentations and submissions. There is nil. Item 7, questions from members without notice. Deputy?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I've got a couple, thank you. Mr. Mayor, could you please inform me under what section of the Act and what reason was I requested to leave the Honourable Melissa Price's office and Senator Linda Reynolds' office due to confidential matters on a recent trip to Canberra? Who determined who determined the confidentiality and the reason for my removal?
Well, that would have been me. The reason you were asked to leave, and let's clarify that there was only in 2 instances that I asked the deputy to leave. The rest of the meetings held in Canberra, the deputy was with myself and the CEO. So the reasons behind the confidentiality is the state and local election, mail fraud, and election tampering issues that I've been investigating for the last 12 months. And I believe that the deputy has a direct link with one of the people that I'm complaining about, so I've asked her to leave. And I'm sure that the federal members that I've spoken to will bring this to light shortly.
Thank you, Mayor. Have the council ever had a briefing or information concerning a port first approach?
CEO, we have spoken on a number of occasions about a port first approach from the town of Port Hedland, and I'll make no apologies for that. The direction on a port first approach is indicated in the recent strategic community plan and also the Port City Growth Plan, where the town will work with industry to develop new industries, develop jobs, and any opportunities that increase the population of Port Hedland.
Right. Could I please have a date and paperwork that was given to us on the port first approach, other than what's in the strategic community plan and everything else that you just stated?
Okay, we will provide it.
During our discussion, just wait, where am I here at the question? Right. During our discussion with the Honourable Melissa Price, she stated that after discussions with Edgar Bastow, Asset President of Iron Ore WA BHP, that he was bold and confident in saying the West End is gone. Do you have any knowledge of these discussions, and do you consider such statements are detrimental to Port Hedland?
It's not a question that I can answer. That's something that Melissa has said and something that Edgar Bastow has said, so I'm sure you can direct those questions to those two.
Thank you, Mayor, but your response is unacceptable. Thank you.
Anything further, Deputy? Councillor Arif. Councillor Carter. Councillor De Cash.
Yes, Mr Mayor, quite a bit. Just following on from respect to the Deputy Mayor Newbury, the situation was at the 28th of February 2018 OCM, Council resolved to appoint the Mayor, Deputy Mayor to attend the 2018 Regional Cooperation and Development Forum and National General Assembly local government and represent the town of Port Hedland from the 17th to the 20th of June 2018. At the 23rd of April 2018 OCM, Council considered an agenda item relating to additional ministerial briefings in Canberra in June 2018. Council then endorsed through this item explicit topics and matters to discuss with ministers. Whilst in Canberra, Councillor Newbury was either asked to leave or not allowed to attend some of those meetings. She is an elected member acting in her capacity as representative of the town and its communities. She was endorsed by council to be there. Council expected to be there and at every meeting. She is not your subordinate or employee.
Councillor De Cash, do you have a question?
Yes.
Can we have the question,
Give me
please?
the respect, please. Show me where in the Act or regulations, Mr. Mayor, you have the power to act as a superior.
Is
You don't know?
that your question?
No, I've got plenty. I'm just asking the question. Show me where in the Act.
The Act is quite clear in that respect, where each council member at this table is equal.
Well, I'm glad you said that. That's great. Okay.
So the
point, yeah, but
Councillor De Cash, can you move on a bit quickly, or I'm going to cut you off?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Point 2. Show me where in the Act or regulations you have the power to ask her to leave or not attend meetings. I'm talking about the Act. You're pretty good with the Act, so.
I am. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Councillor De Cash, the deputy was asked to leave because it was a confidential discussion, and the deputy left.
Where in the Act?
I'm sure that she's complied with that request. Out of respect for the mayor and the CEO and whoever was present in that room.
Yeah, I'm asking for the Act. Do you know part of the Act that allows you to do that?
I've already told you, Councillor De Cash, that the Act is quite clear in that respect, where all council members are equal.
Number 3, show me where in the Act or regulations you have the power to make any decisions that contravenes council decisions that lets her attend in the first place.
I'm unclear on your direction on that question,
Again, it
Councillor.
refers to your time.
Can you clarify your questions clearly so everybody in
I
the...
understand them.
Councillor De Cash?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
So everybody in the gallery understands the intent of the question.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So, do you have part of the Act that says that you can, when you feel like it, say it's confidential and you want councils to leave meetings, that they were approved by elected members to go to?
Councillor De Cash, this questioning is going nowhere. The deputy was asked to leave in 2 instances and she left. There was no argument by the deputy about staying, leaving, or whatever. She has left because she was asked.
Obviously,
There was no issues.
Obviously, there is an issue because she raised a few of them at the time, but obviously there was an issue. So, okay, let me keep going. Councillor Newbury, as a council member, is entitled to have access to any information held by the local government that is relevant to the performance of her functions under the Act or any other written law. This includes verbal information discussed at official meetings where Councillor Newbury was representing the town. This is in the Act under section 5.92, Mr. Mayor.
5.912, Deputy. Councillor De Cash.
Deputy, yeah.
5.91.
5.91? Okay, 5.912. Another question. Where is the section that gives you the right to block access to information to council members?
Like you just said, Councillor, the council has the opportunity to request any information that they need in the performance of their duty. If they request it, they will receive it.
I'll have a question about that later. The other question, are you serving the town and community's best interest when you try to keep information from your own council or councillors?
Councillor De Cash, on many occasions I have told this council at any stage, any information that they want, that will be provided to them. There has been no instances that I am aware of where council has been refused information that they have asked.
Okay.
Do you have any incidences like that?
Yes, I'll bring one up. Okay. Now, I've got questions from pages 9 and 10 from the previous meeting. You discussed with the Premier Mark McGowan the Wealth Fund. Is the Wealth Fund the airport reserves, or is it a separate Wealth Fund where there's money involved that we don't know anything about?
I have spoken about the Wealth Fund on many occasions in the public arena and with the council about trying to develop a fund that will increase our 200 million in the bank to 500 million, which will then, give the town of Port Hedland the opportunity to reduce, the ongoing costs associated with rates and allow the town to have enough money yearly to do all of the capital works and maintenance programs without lifting rates, every year considerably. So that is, that has been spoken about many times, and we'll continue to work on that and to see if we can achieve that outcome. Because if we can, it will be the biggest deal ever created by any local government across Australia. So I will not stop until every avenue is exhausted in that area.
So, Mr. Mayor, where is council laws involved in this? Not just the mayor or the CEO, but council laws as elected members of the people of town Port Hedland. Where do we fit in this? And who's going to give you an extra $300 million? What are we going to sell?
I'll take that on notice.
Thank you. You also discussed with Premier Mark McGowan FIFO. What can I ask? What sort of FIFO? In what respect did you talk to him about that? Seeing that Port Haven's already been.
Councillor De Cash, yes. I've spoken about this already in a council meeting, like I stated previously, which you were present in. So again, I'll take that on notice.
Thank you. You may recall, Mr. Mayor, that I asked a question at BHP meetings that you perceived that I got an invite to by email. At the last LCO meeting, you instructed the CEO to provide me with a copy of the email that I and other councillors were invited to BHP meetings that you attended. So far, I've not received any
That's
copies
okay,
of those.
Councillor De Cash, that's fine. That email, like I said previously, it will be in your inbox, sent Wednesday the 4th of April 2018 at 10:23.
Okay, I'll look at it. Thank you. Is that recorded? And I'll ring up governance just to make sure I get a copy of that. Okay, one question from page 13.
Councillor De Cash, I've been quite lenient now.
Well, I'm asking questions.
Councillor De Cash, I'll stop you there. And if you have read standing orders does state that if members would like to ask one or two questions, then they are entitled to, with the permission of the presiding member. Yeah, and you've been given a fair go today. So
what section is that, Mr. Mayor, or don't you want to answer that?
You should know what section it is because you should know your standing orders.
Yeah.
So,
well,
Councillor Cash, that's
Mr.
enough
Mayor?
from you. Can
Is
I
that right?
move on to Councillor Heber?
I'm not.
Councillor Heber?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have any questions.
No, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Pitt?
Yeah, just one question, obviously, to add on to Councillor Deputy Mayor Newberry and also Councillor De Cash. Why wasn't that made transparent in the agenda item that we voted on, that you were going to have confidential meetings in Canberra? Because it's obviously surprised our Deputy Mayor to be asked to be removed from two distinct meetings.
She wasn't removed from the meetings that were listed as an agenda item by council. She was present at all the meetings.
Okay.
This was additional.
But we approved for the ones that were in the agenda item.
And she was present at all of them.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pitt. Now, I would like to ask Councillor Pitt a question, actually. The strong leaders questioning keeps coming up by yourself. And interaction from the town of Port Hedland and Indigenous elders. Is there anything else you would like to know on that? We have answered your question.
No, I didn't ask a question on that tonight. That was from the community.
I would like to know your opinion.
The strong leaders have actually invited me to attend meetings, which I said that I would in August after NAIDOC week.
So
to
is there
speak with them.
Councillor Pitt, is there any issues with the town of Port Hedland dealing with the strong leaders, in your opinion?
In my opinion,
Yeah.
as a councillor?
As a councillor?
Well, I represent the constituents who put me here, and there are community members who are concerned.
Can you clarify that? Because I don't understand the issues. I have obviously deal with the strong leaders group and the people that are on there.
Well, there's
and
a lot
I
of
find
community
them quite...
members out there who feel...
Councillor Pitt, can I finish?
Yeah, you can.
And I find that their interaction with the Aboriginal community is quite fine. Can we have a reason why you don't think that the interaction with them is appropriate?
I've never stated that.
Okay.
Can you please show me where I've stated that? I have never stated that.
Okay, so are you happy with the town engaging with the strong leaders?
I have just concerns that community members out there aren't being heard within the Aboriginal community, and also particular organisations are missing out on vital funding.
Did you understand the answers that were given to you on the table that shows where any expenditure on the strong leaders
Yeah, I
has gone?
understand that.
Okay, so there is no application of funds going to anyone. It's running meetings and
When we voted on the welfare card, you stated clearly there was $50,000 given to the Aboriginal strong leaders from town of Port Hedland.
There's $50,000 in our budget.
In funding specifically for them. I can actually bring up the agenda item if I can get on. Yeah, I will. And I can show you after this meeting.
Councillor Pitt, so just so we're clear, if you've been, taken my statement incorrectly, there's $50,000 in the budget
for the Aboriginal Strong Leaders Group
to deal with any Aboriginal issues.
No,
or meetings.
It was the Aboriginal Strong Leaders Group.
Councillor,
please don't change your words because it's in the minutes.
Okay. So let me correct it. I might have said it wrong. The allocation is not to the strong leaders.
It is. It's in the minutes.
Oh,
this is disgraceful.
It's
Mr.
in
Mayor.
the town of Port
Disgraceful.
Hedland minutes for that OCM. Unfortunately, I don't have them here with me right now.
It's a shame.
Councillors, settle down. Councillors, just follow standing orders.
Which we are.
I'll pass over to the CEO and he can explain.
The funding allocation is not to any particular group. The funding allocation is for meetings, catering, in support of those sort of sessions.
Well, then those minutes are wrong, and the Mayor has said the wrong thing.
It is not providing a quantum of money to any particular group.
That's what the Mayor said in the minutes.
Councillor Pitt.
When we voted on the welfare card, that's what you said, Mayor Blanco, that $50,000 was given to the Aboriginal Strong Leaders Group. And if I have the time, I'll bring the minutes up to show you what you stated.
Okay.
And those minutes have been approved. So if they were wrong, you should have fixed them.
Can you just settle down a little bit? I'm happy to say that I was wrong in saying that. That's fine. But it is also your responsibility to have a look at the financial
which I have, and you're trying to say that I haven't. I understand clearly.
Pitt.
Slow down, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, with respect to the lady, please.
Councillor Pitt, your responsibility as a councillor, right, is to have a look through the finances of the town of Port Hedland.
Which I have, and I have concerns of too.
Then in that case, you would understand that $50,000 has not gone to the strong leaders
Then why did
group.
you say that for?
Well, it's a mistake, councillor.
So you can make mistakes, but you can go everybody else on here.
Councillor.
Say horrible things about the councillors in public forums where we don't have the ability to defend ourselves, but it's okay for you to just make a mistake.
Order.
She's right.
Point of order.
I'd like to move a motion that we proceed to the next matter.
It's the mayor that's raised it. He's raised it. He started it.
And I'm trying to control it.
Yeah, but you're not doing it.
Thank you.
Let's
move on.
It's in the standing orders, Councillor De Cash.
I've been co. Well, yeah, okay. But
Point of order.
He started it. Under what section? Show me.
Section 12.1A.
Councillor, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the mayor. Thank you. You have to be respect for me.
Okay, we will move on to item 8. Announcements by presiding member without discussion. So, members here and people on the live streaming, we attended Canberra last week. Myself, the Deputy Mayor and the CEO, who attended all meetings. And we talked about a range of subjects. It's our responsibility to connect with government officials and to, create business potential in our area, which obviously creates jobs and growth in our region. So we spoke about Port Hedland being a key investment and growth area for industry, the Northern Australia Infrastructure Fund, and the key to unlocking that potential. Growing the cattle trade, lithium, and the groups already positioning themselves to double production. The plan to bring oil and gas onshore through Port Hedland to supply the domestic market. LNG bunkering that is being proposed on the Portland. The development of direct freight opportunities into Port Hedland from Japan, Indonesia. We also discussed with a number of senators and chief of staffs the using Port Hedland as a strategic defence capable location. And also Hedland being the perfect place for the new space program that the federal government is talking about. It's logistically logical. We also spoke about wraparound services for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people through the town of Port Hedland, and a number of other subjects were discussed as well. So all in all, I think it was a pretty good meeting with the federal government, and we'll supply them with some information that they've requested and engage with the state government in trying to get a local, state and federal alliance happening so we can direct Port Hedland into the future. Thank you. Item 9, declarations of all members to have given due consideration to all matters contained in the business paper before the meeting. Can I have a show of hands, please? It's 8-0. Item 10, confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. 10.1, confirmation of minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday, the 23rd of May 2018. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
So moved.
Move Councillor McDonough. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Arif. Do I have any against? Motion's passed 8-0. So I'll read out this disclaimer. Members of the public are cautioned in taking any action on council decisions on items on this evening's agenda in which they may have an interest until formal notification in writing by the town has been received. Decisions made at this meeting can be revoked pursuant to the Local Government Act 1995. Item 11.1.1, live streaming of council meetings, with the officer's recommendation on page 15. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
Moved.
Move Councillor Arif. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Pitt. Do I have any against? Motion's passed 8-0. 11.1.2, quarterly status of council decisions, with the officer's recommendation on page 19. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
So moved.
Move Councillor Arif. Do I have a seconder? Councillor McDonough. Do I have any against? Motion is passed 8-0. 11.1.3, statement of financial activity for the period ended 30th of April 2018. With the officer's recommendation on page 21. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
So moved.
Move Councillor Arif. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hebbard. Do I have any against? Motion is passed 8-0. 11.1.4, 2017-18 budget review for the period ending 30th of April 2018, with the officer's recommendation on page 36. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
So moved.
Move Councillor McDonough. Do I have a seconder? Seconded Councillor Arif. Before I take that vote, I'd just like to say that I've said this before in previous years, that there's been hundreds of variations in the budget through the quarterly budget review that I've seen when attending council meetings, in the public gallery. So it's good to see that the budget being applied as it was agreed to. Has been done, and that there hasn't been, the variations that we have seen in previous years. So it's good to see that the budget is applied and things are getting done, and there's actual visual throughout the town that you can see the improvements in our infrastructure and services. So can I put that to a vote? Those in favour? Yeah. Do I have some against? Motion's passed 8-0. Item 11.1.5, 2016-17 Annual Audit Finding Actions, with the officer's recommendation on page 41. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
So moved.
Move Councillor Arif. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Carter. Do I have any against? Motion is passed 8-0. (11.1.6) Appointment of approved mentor with the officer's recommendation on page 46. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
So moved.
Move Councillor McDonough. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hubbard. Do I have any against?
Yes, Mr Mayor.
Speakers for, Councillor McDonough. Speakers for, Councillor Hubbard. Speakers against, Councillor De Cash.
Thank you,
Councillor
Mr
McDonough.
Mayor. In relation to the appointment of item 11.1.6, appointment of an approved mentor, I don't have a hell of a lot to say on it, to be honest, other than I think that the display of behaviour at the table tonight is nothing more than clear indication that we need some outside help with getting the behaviour of the councillor and the interaction of all the councillors back on track.
Thank you, Councillor McDonough.
And probably just in addition to that, the resume I've read of Mr Jurovich is quite impressive, very experienced within the local government sector, and from what I understand, very personable as well.
Thank you. Councillor Hubbard. Speakers for.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I concur with Councillor McDonough. I think this is a great opportunity for our council to learn and define our roles as councillors and community members from Mr Ron Jurovich for his past.
Councillor, can I just it's already cat's out of the bag, but it is a confidential. So you can talk about the content, but
okay, sorry.
Yeah, just
with
the name is fine.
Suggested appointment of a suitable mentor, and any suitable mentors that have indicated to us have got some great past experience and appointments that I think would also be an opportunity for us to try mediative and mentoring efforts to connect and move forward as a team. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hubbard. Speakers against, Councillor De Cash.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just question whether the council's read the minutes of confidentiality. But anyway, councillors, I'm deeply concerned of spending $50,000 or more of ratepayers' monies for a government-appointed mentor to try and resolve council's issues on the breakdown of communication of a councillor, not with respect to the mentor, as has been mentioned. The majority of us elected councillors know that the one councillor causing major issues is surely not worth $50,000 or more of the hard-working ratepayers of our town. Councillors, we are a board elected by the peoples of the town of Port Hedland to do the best possible decisions for our town to progress. If the majority of the elected board believes a councillor is not performed to the betterment of our town, then we should proceed to oust the councillor. I believe there is enough evidence from the majority of councillors to substantiate to the minister that the one councillor causing all the issues should be immediately dismissed and not costing ratepayers $50,000. That one councillor has been accused for verbal abuse, bullying, intimidation, misogyny and threatening behaviour, not only against other councillors, myself being one of them, but I allegedly believe other members of the public as well. I'm also deeply concerned by the comments made from other committees that this councillor is involved with. So, I ask this one councillor to immediately resign his position as councillor, save the ratepayers $50,000 or more, and let a councillor resume the mantle as mayor and be open and accountable to the town of Port Hedland. So, Councillor Blanco, are you responsible enough to do the right decision and immediately resign so that the $50,000 could be spent on other major projects in our town?
Speakers for.
I'll speak for it.
I think the $50,000 is going to be money well spent. I think it's very evident that we do need help. You know, we're screaming out for help, and I think $50,000 probably won't be enough money for the help that we need. That is clearly evident. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Speakers against? Speakers for? I'll speak for it. I concur with Councillor Arif. $50,000 is probably not enough to get this council back on track. But what we need to understand is while we have a council that's dysfunctional and can't make strategic long-term decisions, the potential investment lost by the town of Port Hedland is significant. It's not $50,000. It will be hundreds of millions of dollars. We are now embarking in the next stage of our boom cycle, where industry has already announced $6 billion worth of upgrades and expansions. We've got a lithium industry that's just about to spend $1 billion in expanding their product. We've got oil and gas offshore. We've got serious potential in the town of Port Hedland, and we have got serious issues when it comes to our West End, the restriction of the expansion of the port due to planning matters. We haven't been able to renew our town planning scheme, the number one document in our town, for 15 years. The requirement is we're supposed to do it every 5 years. So we have got some serious issues, and while the council continues to fight amongst each other, and we can't get strategic decisions over the line for the betterment of the town, we will potentially lose hundreds of millions of dollars worth of investment into our area. Speakers against? Speakers for? Or right of reply, Councillor McDonough?
All good points, thank you very much. I would say the only thing I'd like to add is that, as Councillor De Cash has stated, yes, we are like a board of a corporation, which means we need to be making decisions for the benefit of our town and leaving emotion at the door and acting like mature elected members and leaders of our community as the people that elected us would expect.
Thank you, Councillor McDonough. Put it to a vote. Those in favour of the officer's recommendation, show of hands, please. Thank you. And those against? Motion is passed 7-1. (11.2) Development, Sustainability and Lifestyle. 11.2.1 Needle Safety Initiatives, with the officer's recommendation on page 51.
Excuse me, Mr Mayor, can I disclose an interest?
Yes.
With regard to the agenda item 11.2.1, Needle Safety Initiatives, I disclose I have an impartiality interest because I am volunteer as a Vice Chairperson of the Headland Royal Women's Centre, and I am also, it could be perceived, but I am exempt under section 5.63G as a public service state worker. Oh, and sorry, and as a consequence, there may be a perception that my impartiality of the matter may be affected, but I declare that I'll consider this matter on its merits and vote accordingly.
Thank you, Councillor. So with the officer's recommendation on page 51, do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
Yes.
Councillor De Cash. Do I have a seconder? Councillor McDonough. Do I have any against? Motion is passed 8-0. Community 11.2.2 Community Partnership Grants, with the officer's recommendation on page 67. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation? Move, Councillor Arif. Seconded Councillor De Cash. Do I have any against? Motion is passed 8-0. Eleven point 2.3 recommendation to the West Australian Planning Commission on Osprey Rural Structure Plan. With the officer's recommendation on page 73. Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation? Councillor Arif. Do I have a seconder? Seconder Councillor Pitt. Do I have any against? Speakers for, Councillor Arif. Speakers for, Councillor Pitt. Speakers against, Councillor Hebbar.
Oh, thank you very much. This is a plot of land that is sitting between the Osprey Village and the railway line landfill that has been identified as potential development going into the future. It came to us a couple of years ago and it looked okay, but we did identify that there were a few issues. These issues have been rectified with the what the planner has put forward in here, that they reduce the public open space to 2 areas rather than lots of smaller areas, and I think the issues have been resolved. We are planning for the potential boom that was just mentioned in the last agenda item. We need to get ourselves ready, get all the planning items set in line so that if we are in need of land that is ready to go, we've got it. We can just pull it out of the drawer and start to develop it. This is part of that process, and I think it's a good move. We have been behind the 8 ball before and don't want to be there again. I think we need to move forward and pass this agenda item.
Thank you, Councillor Arif. Speakers for, Councillor Pitt.
So with this is kind of along the lines of what Councillor Arif was saying after reading this. We need to be prepared because Port Hedland, the town of Port Hedland, I feel, isn't truly independent of mining. So we go with the mining if there's a boom, if there's a bust. And to be able to have planning prepared in front of any type of unexpected boom, which obviously there is some new types of minerals. There's also, solar energy, all those types of things which are being looked at, which can be considered as the new boom that's coming forward for us as a town. We need to be prepared in having planning ready, so when development time and construction comes, all those things are already in process, and it doesn't take around 18 months or whatever the timeline is to be able to get these things through.
Speakers against, Councillor Hebbar.
Thank you, through the Chair. I understand and accept that there is a need for vacant land to be ready and waiting to be developed, but I just don't feel that this piece of land is suitable, and I feel that there's other suitable land based in South Hedland or around Port Hedland that could be chosen and could be planned to be ready. I mean, for example, the plans indicate that there's 24.33 hectare of roads and 9.4 hectare of public open space and 12.7 hectare of allocation for a proposed school, which is a long way off. And, that's for 47 hectares of space that the council would have to maintain as soon as that piece of area started to be developed on. And I just think that should be taken into consideration. So therefore, I'm against this piece of land being an opportunity. Thank you. And also with the buffer zones, obviously, with the mining. Don't want anyone living next to anything toxic.
Thank you, Councillor Hebbar. Speakers for? I'll speak for it. We had significant issues in the previous boom where we didn't have land deconstrained for development of housing. This plan creates the opportunity, and it's the first stage of a planning process that is very long-winded. So if there is any issues further down the track with any sort of buffer zones or design, that will be coming back to council to be looked at again. So I think we should deconstrain this land and make it available for any potential developer that might want to come in and develop housing lots within that area. We still have the opportunity to object further down the track if there is any issues associated with the buffers or the proximity to the landfill. Speakers against? Speakers for? Right to reply, Councillor Arif.
Thank you very much. It was mentioned about suitability, and yes, that is an issue, but we have other land that may well be utilised prior to this one. We can, the Western Edge and places like that will be taken up and used should the boom happen and we start to get ahead. But I'm absolutely sure that this land will be, by the time it is ready to be built on, everything will be totally suitable. It'll have the appropriate buffers in place. It'll have all the testing and everything to make sure there's no toxic influence on anyone that is there. In terms of planning and preparation, we need to, if there's that many hectares of land, we need to make sure there's that many hectares of land for schools and potential. So that has to be planned in. Whether or not it comes to be, we still have to plan for it. In terms of the cost of the council maintaining it, well, that comes as it's developed, not as soon as it's passed. So, councillors, I think this is a good thing and we should move forward with it.
Thank you, Councillor. Could I have a show of hands, those in favour of the office recommendation on page 73, please? Thank you. Those against? Motion is passed 7-1. Item 12, reports of committees. 12.1, Audit, Risk and Governance Committee minutes, 5th of June 2018, with the office recommendation on page 96.
Moved.
Moved, Councillor Arif. Do I have a seconder? Councillor McDonough. Do I have any against? Motion is passed 8-0. Item 13, motions of which previous notice has been given. There is nil. Item 14, new business of an urgent nature. Could I get a vote from council to consider our late items? Could I get a mover in that consideration? Moved, Councillor Arif. Seconded, Councillor Carter. Can I just confirm that there is 3 late items?
That's right.
The agenda says 2. Does everyone understand there's 3? Yes? Okay. Could I, so we have a mover in Councillor Arif and seconder in Councillor Carter. Do I have any against? The motion is passed.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, you're talking about 14.1?
14.1, 14.2.
Yeah, I've got to declare an interest on both 14.1 and 14.2, financial interest, which I stated right at the beginning.
That's okay. We can do the vote and then you can declare it.
But it's financial.
We just.
Sorry, I apologise.
Do I have any against? Motion's passed 8-0. Late item 14.1. Councillor De Cash.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm declaring a financial interest due to the fact that I've got mineral resources shares way above the threshold. Would you like me to include 14.2 as well, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councillor.
Okay, so 14.1 and 14.2, again, due to the fact that I've got mineral resources shares above the threshold.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you.
We can still use the mics. Wodgina Village expansion, a retrospective approval. With the officer's recommendation on page 3 of the first report.
Point of clarification.
Yes.
This is a retrospective approval. This is the second one of these that we've had recently. Is this going to be the norm, you know, that they build the mine camp and then come to us and ask for permission going into the future?
Sia?
I sincerely hope not. Listen, do you want to do that?
So, through the chair, yes, we hope not. It's very hard to stop this happening, but what we have done is, for a retrospective approval, the fees are actually tripled. So we have been starting to charge penalty fees for these retrospective applications and sending out a staff member to do site visits so we can confirm that things have actually been built, which allows us then to charge those penalty fees.
Do I have a mover in the officer's recommendation?
I'll move it.
Move Councillor Arif. Do I have a seconder? Councillor McDonough. Do I have any against? I'm going to vote against it. And I'm okay. So speakers for Councillor Arif, speakers for Councillor McDonough, speakers against Mayor Blanco.
Thank you very much. I weighed up quite strongly when I read this. I'm not for FIFO camps at any time, and would love to see our town develop, and would like it to be a Dido camp or something like that. But 120 plus kilometres away makes it a safety issue. It is also a retrospective approval. It's already there. It is an expansion to that. I do understand that as well. So it was a hard one to come up with. We have to weigh it up. It's still, as the Mayor has said numerous times tonight, it's still aiding the development of our town, our area, our region. Not necessarily the residential component of the town. It was a hard one, but I have decided that I think that we need to move forward on this one. Thank you.
Speakers for Councillor McDonough.
Thank you, Councillor Arif. I concur with all the points you've raised there. I'd also like to add that the report we received from Mineral Resources in relation to the local spending and companies that they utilise within the town and local businesses, that there is a lot of support within the town provided by this facility. And just to reiterate, it's definitely a safety concern. Being 120 kilometres out of town, it's not really realistic for us to expect that we would have any drive-in, drive-out type workforce there. And I think as long as we can try and keep them honest as far as utilising local vendors, there's a lot of local suppliers that can grow and put on extra staff and that sort of thing, which will help our residential base in that respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDonough. Speakers against, Mayor Blanco. Okay, I'm going to try and change your mind, and it really hasn't got anything to do with the development application, because it has been done correctly, but we need to have a look at the bigger picture here and understand the potential detriment that's going to be created to the town by allowing companies to build camps and run them solely as a FIFO operation. And this camp, it looks to me like that's what's going to happen. So I support the development of the lithium industry 100%. There's no doubt about that. I support job development and the wealth generated to the state and to the nation on these potential developments, or these developments. This is a retrospective approval, which means it's already built, it's already there. So it's really a pretty poor show when it comes to the miners to build things without the appropriate approvals to start with, which puts us in a very bad position. More importantly, the model that I see here being used is a FIFO period, which is detrimental to the vision and the direction of Port Hedland. Our Port City Growth Plan and new strategic community plan states supporting residentially based workforce. We're trying to support industry expansion that benefits Port Hedland, to build our population and to create financial benefits for all here, as well as the state and the nation. This plan allows for the camp to be expanded, for the extra workforce to further develop the lithium operations, and also build an airport capable of landing A320s. So this will be a direct FIFO to Wodgina. That outcome cuts Port Hedland out of the potential business and job opportunities the mine creates. The airfield should not be built 100 kilometres out of Port Hedland. They should use the Port Hedland International Airport. The lithium processing plant that is in their business case to be built should not be built 100 k's out of Port Hedland. It should be developed on the Badari industrial site in Port Hedland. This doesn't help our kids that are looking for work after they leave school. It doesn't help the social issues created by lack of job opportunities in our area. There's been a clear absence of policy by the last state government in this area, and now this state government is allowing the same business practices to continue. The federal government needs to understand our concerns and see the logic in this approach, and the state government needs to intervene and support the development of downstream processing lithium in our town. The only way we're going to achieve that is by sending a message and voting this down. And yes, we will probably lose, but we will get community support, and that should be enough to make the government listen and ensure that this practice doesn't happen again, and any industries, developments that are going to be developed in our area benefit our town. Thank you. Speakers for?
Yes, I'll speak for. Thank you, Mayor. I'm just a bit confused there, Mayor. look, I am for this being the distance one, but I'm a bit confused that you've added something to this agenda item, yet we did not have it in this. And when we start talking about downstreaming to our industrial Badari site, I would like to see an EPA report come with it. We are talking about a toxic to our waterways. I don't believe I want something toxic only 10 k's out of town to our wharf. Thank you.
Speakers against? Speakers for? Right of reply.
Thank you very much. I know you have said that, our children, our residents may not have the opportunity to work on this mine, and you're probably right. But there is a flow-on effect that does happen within the town. Sort of, there's cars that still need to be serviced, and there's hotel rooms that are taken up by mechanics and people like that, and all sorts. So it may not be the large workforce, but there is a smaller workforce. The small businesses do benefit from this in a much smaller way, obviously. I do agree. I do not 100% support the airport, but that is part of this package. I don't believe that is the right thing, and I'll say that right now. But I still think that for the sake and health of the people out there, that this is the best place for them to be. One other thing, government, whichever side of government it is, business practices will always support the mining companies. Now, it's a hard thing to say. We have banged our head against a brick wall for 50 years in Port Hedland trying to fight the mining companies. And, several mayors before you, and my father included, just gave up. They got sick of banging their head. And, Mr. Mayor, you may also do the same. I hope not. But, mining companies seem to have their own way with the government, and this is a classic example of that. But, I think this one, like I said, it is retrospective. It's already there. They are looking to expand. It is another flow-on industry that may have some benefit to the town. There will be extra wharfinges and things like that. So I think we should pass this agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Arif. Put it to a vote. Those in favour of the officer recommendation? Hands. Thank you. And those against? Thank you. Motion is 4-3. Passed. (14.2) Wodgina Fly Camp retrospective approval with the officer recommendation on page 3 of the second report. Do I have a mover in the officer recommendation?
Moved.
Councillor Arif, do I have a seconder? Do I have a seconder? Motion is lost due to no seconder. (14.3) Early adoption of Capital Works program. Yes, thank you. Councillor De Cash, the 14.1 was passed 4-3, and 14.2, the motion was lost due to no seconder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
14.3, early adoption of capital works projects, 2018-19. With the office recommendation on page 1 of that item. Do I have a mover in the office recommendation?
So moved.
Move Councillor De Cash.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I didn't.
Donna, was it? Oh, sounding the same. Okay. Thank you. Move Councillor McDonough. Do I have a seconder? Seconder, Councillor Arif. Do I have any against? Motion is passed 8-0. Okay, where are we? Item 15, matters for which the meeting may be closed, confidential matters. We have got one confidential matter, so could I get a mover and a seconder to go into confidence?
So moved.
Move Councillor De Cash. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hebbard. Do I have any against? The motion is passed 8-0. Okay, members of the public, sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. We're going to consider a confidential item. I'm happy for,